Entrepreneurship in 2025 is pretty ruthless, and these 7 lessons will save you. Now, who am I to speak on this topic, and why should you even listen to me? Well, in my first year of entrepreneurship, I generated close to $250,000, which is not, crazy, but it's still pretty decent, especially for someone's first year in business. Obviously, I'm well past that now. And also, I just love studying the most successful entrepreneurs. Like, my life depends on it, basically. I just am absolutely obsessed with learning and learning from the smartest people and studying history's greatest founders when it comes to entrepreneurship in general. So I think I have a pretty good grasp on, the lessons. And obviously, I haven't been in business for long, but I've achieved some success. And obviously, I study the greats literally like my life depends on it. Okay. So most people who start in a business in 2025 are doomed before they even start. Not because they don't have the IQ. And IQ is really not the thing you should be focused on. Like if you're actually pretty dumb, you have an advantage in business because you just take action without overthinking it. There's this midwit meme where it's the guy on the left who's just like, provide value to others, and then there's the people in the middle who's like, I need the CRM and I need this follow-up sequence and this email copy and all of this, and then there's the guy on the right who says, just provide value to others. So sometimes if you have a bit of a less IQ than most people, you actually have an advantage in business. So, and obviously, if you want to achieve like the billionaire status, you need like a 130 plus IQ or something. But anyway, you don't need like a massive IQ. They never learn the 7 lessons I'm about to share with you. Now, these aren't motivational quotes or like, something that everyone has told you. Like, these are harsh truths from people like Alex Hormozi, Sam Ovens, Ty Lopez, and the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet. And success also means something different for everyone, right? Like, I'm trying to live the good life when it comes to health, wealth, love, and happiness, all right? Like, I want all 4. I don't want to be like the fat billionaire guy. Like, I want to be the rich, jacked, happy entrepreneur, traveling, all of that, like good lifestyle, taking care of his family. Like, I want everything, okay? Not just money, or not just like a good physique, but you're broke. Like, that's terrible. Like, you don't want to be the broke, jacked guy. Like, that's the worst thing ever. Like, you're this bold guy and you're just like jacked and you have no money. Like, that's like the worst. It's literally worse than being out of shape and broke. Like, I'm not even kidding. So if you ignore them, you'll suffer. If you live by them, you'll win. So it's simple as that. So let's dive in. Damn. Is this not working? It's working. So these 7 lessons will save you years of wasted time. And that's really what I'm doing when I'm learning books and studying these people. Like, I am essentially avoiding all the mistakes. And by that, I achieve the goals quicker. Okay. So it will save you tens of thousands of dollars from mentors and everyone. And also, if you factor in the time, like, it will save you money because you are going to spend less time like, going through the mistakes yourself, which will obviously save you money because you wouldn't be spending money in that avenue, if that makes sense. And then also, more importantly, they'll keep you from quitting too early, which is like literally the number one thing that's stopping most people. It's just quitting too early. Like, success and failure is on the same road. Failure is just an earlier exit. That's all it is. So you're just quitting too early. And by me sharing these lessons, you will not quit, basically, which will guarantee success. And they're simple but not easy. Like, this is a maxim I say a lot. Entrepreneurship and business and life is pretty simple. Getting in shape is simple. Just eat less, move more. It's like, bro, like, why are you fat? Just eat less and move more. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's the same in entrepreneurship and in business. The people who win in business master these lessons that I'm about to share with you. So whether you're just starting out or scaling to $1 million plus, these apply. So number 1 is focus is your superpower. And then most of these things, right? You've probably heard of them, but most people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. Like, wisdom is the ability to take your own advice. And you probably know all of these things already. It's just you're not taking their advice. So focus is your superpower. Most entrepreneurs try to do 100 things at once. The man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. That's a quote from Confucius. Like, in the beginning, you kind of just want to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, okay? Like, I tried forex trading. I tried, dropshipping, flipping Instagram theme pages, crypto. Like, I made money in crypto, but like everyone made money in crypto in 2020, like the bull run. But like, yeah, I did a bunch of things and then I stuck. And also, yeah, I mentioned forex trading. And I was presented with a crossroad, like a fork in the road. Should I either go with SMA, okay, or forex trading? I'm like, which one is going to be the hardest in the short term? And I was listening to a podcast from Naval and Chris Williamson. It's his recent podcast, like amazing so far. And even Naval said that if you're presented with two opportunities, go with the one that's the hardest in the short term, because your brain is obviously, it doesn't like pain. The foundation of psychology is to remove or go away from pain and move to pleasure. Like, that's the basis of psychology. People are pain avoidant and pleasure seeking. Okay, so your brain is trying to confuse you by saying, oh, just like do this one, but in the short term, do the one that's the most difficult and that's the hardest. Okay, because in the long term, that will give you the most benefits. And Sam Alvins and Amosi agree on the same thing. Ordinary actions done long enough create extraordinary results. And ordinary actions is pretty boring, right? Like, everyone knows exactly what they need to do, they're just not doing it. That's ordinary actions done long enough create extraordinary results. And to do that, you need to focus. And the most successful people laser focus on one thing for years. Like Jeff Bezos didn't have a side project, he didn't have a side hustle. Like all these guys doing side hustles, like it's not going to work, because people literally have that as their main hustle. How are you going to compete with them? If they have a main hustle and you're doing it as a side thing, right? Maybe if you're transitioning from a 9 to 5 and you're doing the side project, that's totally fine. But at some point, you need to cut out the 9 to 5 and jump to your side hustle and make that the main hustle, because you can't compete with people who are doing it 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Like, you just can't compete if you're doing it for 2 hours after you've worked for the entire day, after you went to the gym. You depleted, like your brain fog, like you can't think. It's impossible. Okay, so I have a question for you. What's your one thing? And if you are starting your SMA, the one thing for you is marketing and sales. So it's basically two things, but it's like one concept. It's marketing and sales. It's basically conversion, turning strangers into a client. Client acquisition is your one thing. Okay, if you're starting your SMA, that is your one thing. It's nothing else. It's not creating a website. It's not choosing which software to use, what copy of your website. It's nothing like that. Offer is obviously pretty important as well, but that's one and done. And then after that, you focus on client acquisition, which is, marketing and sales. And the most important thing really is client retention, especially in this day and age. Client retention over client acquisition, because, our lifetime LTV, like our LTV of a client, is $31,000. One client is $31,000. That's the average. One client of ours is worth $109,000, like one of our clients. So on average, it's like $31,000 for one client. That's insane. That's client retention. They've stayed with us for over 13 months. And that's like unheard of in the agency world. The average LTV for agency owners is like 2 to 3 months. All right. So yeah, and obviously we focus on one thing and just master that. And that's why people stay for the long term. Number 2, money is a result of service. And this is a quote from Henry Ford, which I probably got here. Your success is directionally proportional to the value you give to the market. And I think, I know that Elon Musk also has a saying where he says, you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. I just have another thing where I say your success is directly proportional to the value you give to the marketplace. And essentially value is just, alleviating pain. And the way to alleviate pain is by solving problems. If you've got a problem and you solve it, you alleviate pain for someone. That's ultimately what you should focus on. And money is a result of service. And service is you just solving your clients' problems and eating their complexity. Sam Ovens also has a video about this where he says that, you want to eat your client's complexity, because the more problems you solve for your customer, the less pain they have to go through, the more valuable your service is, the more money you'll make. Sam Ovens, Henry Ford, like I study, all history's greatest entrepreneurs studied history's greatest entrepreneurs. Like I kind of fumbled there, but all history's greatest entrepreneurs study history's greatest entrepreneurs. So if you're not studying the history's greatest people, founders, right? Like what are you doing? So Sam Ovens is obviously pretty new, but he basically pioneered the consulting space. Henry Ford just like literally he like changed the world with cars and stuff like that and transportation. Like one guy. And now everyone's driving cars. It's insane. Jeff Bezos, obviously with Amazon, and all obsessed over one thing, which is serve first. They put service before anything else because money is a result of service. So stop asking, how do I make money? It's like, that's like why are you asking that question? Like you don't get money that way. Start asking, what difficult problem can I solve for someone to make their life easier? If you solve that problem, like that's what we're doing. We're actually doing a rebrand for the School of Athens. our free community. It's we're rebranding it because when people join, like they don't quite know exactly what they're getting, and that's another point which I'm gonna mention. I think it's like point 7, which is adaptability. So we're kind of pivoting our just the name, like we are doing the same thing, but we are solving their problems and eating their complexity, which is, client acquisition is most people's problems when they're starting an agency. It's like getting clients, which is, appointment booking, sales, conversion, that type of thing. Okay. So find your market's number one problem, solve it better than anyone. Essentially, better in this context, like the easiest way to do that is just do it twice as fast. Like you can charge twice as much as well if you do it, that quickly. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, like most of these programs, they only solve like the problem there and then. Like, they kind of give them the fish and not teach them to fish. Like that's what we're doing with our program. We are teaching people to fish. It will take longer, but you will have success for the long term. Like most programs only give you a fish. It's like, use this copy, get a client, boom. And then you get to like, let's say 5K a month, but only for like 3 months. And then don't know how to adapt. You don't know how to think. The best programs teach you how to think. So it's a bit more long term, but you'll be able to have success forever, which is what we're doing. We're teaching you how to fish, not just giving you the fish. Okay. So lifelong student of the game. This is number 3. In my whole life, this is a quote from Charlie Munger. In my whole life, I've known no wise people who didn't read all the time. None, zero. He didn't know a single person. No wise people. And obviously, if you want to be wise, you'll be able to make better decisions in health, wealth, love, happiness. Like, all your life is a result of your decisions, basically. So if you want to be like wise, is the foundation of the wisdom, is the foundation of good decisions. So, and he didn't know a single wise person who didn't read all the time. All the time. Like Warren Buffett reads 600 pages a day. Elon grew up reading 2 books a day. Elon Musk. Ty Lopez reads a book a day. He's got a pretty famous TEDx, right? TED Ed, I'm not sure. Talk on that. Jeff Bezos, his first store was a bookstore. Amazon, what you see now with like the everything store, it started with books. Bill Gates takes 2 think weeks to read. He got like think weeks. He goes to like a cottage in the middle of nowhere and just reads and thinks. So if you think you can go through this marketplace, without reading, I don't know what you're doing. Let me just move that. Like people say, oh, just take action. It's like, bro, what are you doing? You can just do both. Read and take action. Like people who just take action, there's this quote, this paragraph from The Selfish Gene from Richard Dawkins, and it says that species who learn from trial and error are worse off than species who learn from other people's mistakes. And the way to learn from other people's mistakes is to read. Like you don't want to get hit by a bus to, by yourself. Like just actually get hit by a bus to know that you should look both ways when crossing the street. Like you can learn from other people's mistakes. And if you don't do the mistakes, you are naturally taking the right path without mistakes. And some things you need to learn by yourself. Obviously, that's like, the core thing about wisdom is like some things you just have to go through yourself. But other other small mistakes, you can just avoid that by reading. If you're not reading, you're actively putting yourself at a disadvantage. And that is just a fact. Stop looking at these people in the space. Like, I appreciate that you're watching this video. But like, stop looking at people in this like agency bubble space and look at like the greatest entrepreneurs and study them. Read biographies, read autobiographies of, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, it's like Rockefellers, all these guys. Just read them, right? Like I love reading Paul Graham's essays as well. That's also pretty good. Just like study them, okay? And all of them read a lot. So like, yeah. And all these agency guys, they tell you, I'm also part of the agency guys, but they're telling you to just take action. It's like, just hustle. It's like, obviously there's a time and place for that, but if you're not learning, like where are your ideas coming from? Okay. It's good to learn from your mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes. That's Warren Buffett who said that. And I think he got this quote from Benjamin Franklin. So it's like, I think it was his mentor. And, all these guys are saying the same thing. Even Richard Dawkins in The Selfish Gene, he says something similar. They're all saying the same thing. Okay. It's learning from other people's mistakes. And the best way to do that is to read. Set aside at least 1 hour a day to read, and you're already in the top 0.01%. And someone asked Naval, like, what's some reading tips, whatever. And Naval said that if you just set aside, he reads for like 1 to 2 hours a day, but that already puts him in the top, I think 0.001% of readers. I read a stat that said that I think 40% of Americans, they did a study of 1,500 Americans, and 40 something percent, or 40 to 50% of them read less than a book a year. They basically read no books, 4%. So, yeah. And then people ask, like, oh, why do the rich get richer? Like, because broke people just, like, they don't learn. They don't learn at all, okay? Readers are leaders. It's the same thing, okay? All of them saying the same thing. So even Alexander the Great, he traveled with a library. Like, he traveled with a bookshelf full of books. And I think his mentor was Aristotle, like, literally reading all the time, okay? Let's go to the next one. Is that the next one? Yeah. So play long-term games, okay? And this is I got this from Naval. Play long-term games with long-term people. All right. If you can wait a year, you can win big. And a year is even, like, I think in decades. Like, I'm not really, okay, let's say 5 to 10 year increments. I don't really care about the next year to 1 to 2 years. Like, I think mostly in 5 to 10 year increments. All right, like, let's say I'm building something. I think a lot, and that's very important, especially nowadays with the whole hustle culture. Like, planning and strategizing is the new moat. Like, when everyone is doing one thing, you want to do the other thing to get a competitive advantage. Okay, and basically just do you. Like, if you don't want to strategize, you just want to act, like, just do you. Okay, but for me personally, I'm very, very patient. Like, I literally did a personality test. I scored 100% in patience, so I'm extremely patient. I can wait forever, basically. And so I obviously need to act as well. I know to act, like, I work 16-hour days. Like, I know how to do those two. So I can balance both of them. Not balance, but essentially do both at the same time. And that's pretty difficult. People struggle holding two contradicting thoughts in their brain. People struggle a lot with that. They can't do that. Especially men. They can't, what's the word? Multitask. Okay? So back to the quote. If you can wait a decade, you can be the best. If you can wait a lifetime, you can change the world. So that's pretty good. That's basically just long-term thinking in general. And this one thing right here is the number one killer of most entrepreneurs. It's short-term thinking. Like, this destroys most entrepreneurs, right? Jeff Bezos was famously unprofitable from 1994 to 2003. He's a strategic genius. So there was an interview someone did with Jeff Bezos, and they literally laughed at him and said, yo, you've been unprofitable for the last 9 years. What are you doing? Like, or do you even know how business works? Like, the host was laughing at Jeff Bezos, and he was just completely unfazed. He's just like, bro, this idiot, he doesn't know what he's doing. So basically what he was doing is he was reinvesting all those profits that the business was gaining and reinvesting that into factories and better, factories, better production lines, just like investing back in the business. And most business owners, like agency owners, for example, or consultants, whatever, coaches, like, they take the profits and reinvest it in their lifestyle. And never, ever was that a thing. Never. Like, I haven't heard a single successful entrepreneur do that. Aside from Iman Gadzhi, like, he obviously did it extremely well. But it's very difficult to do that. Very, very difficult. In the short term, the market is a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine. So a voting machine, everyone is voting for what's popular. And that's essentially a lifestyle. And this is a quote from Warren Buffett. And in the long term, it's a weighing machine. And this is where value comes in. So in the long term, value always wins. In the short term, flashy lifestyle wins. But they cap at a certain point. Because you are doing that at the cost of your reputation. All right? You can't win a long term with that. All right? So this is the number one killer for most entrepreneurs. Like, you can't grow exponentially with the, like, lifestyle stuff. Like, you can't grow exponentially with that, because, every time you spend money on your lifestyle, you're not, spending that time. It's mostly time, okay, on your product and on your customers. You're not doing that. And every single entrepreneur, like, let's say Sam Ovens, for example, Jeff Bezos, they are famous for, putting their customers first, customer obsession, right? And where on earth did this lifestyle thing come from? Okay. In the short term, you will 100% make more money that way. 100% you will. But in the long term, you won't. And people were laughing at Jeff Bezos because, it wasn't making any profits. But what he was doing is it was cutting the prices of his products. So it's the cheapest in the marketplace, reinvesting in the best, production, all of that I just mentioned, increasing the factories, machineries, improving the machineries, and all of that obviously takes money, which in the short term, he wasn't making any money, but over the long term, he was essentially swallowing up the market share because no one could compete with him, right? Because all of them were spending that money, that extra money that the business was making, right? Let's say they had like a mass market, a business, the competitors with Jeff Bezos. There was a competitor called diaper.com, and he essentially said like, there's this whole story about this, where, he essentially bought over them because he was slashing the prices. So everyone's going to Jeff Bezos' company Amazon, and essentially the stock of diaper.com plummeted, and he just bought the company over. So business is ruthless that way. So if you spend that money on lifestyle, you're not spending it on your business and on your customers. All right. So he was taking all that profit, right, and slashing his prices and essentially going underwater. A good analogy for this is you are a submarine and you are essentially going underwater, and the guy who can hold his breath the longest will win. Most people go up for air, they can't handle the pressure. But Jeff Bezos went unprofitable, famously unprofitable for 9 years. Most people can't stomach that. He did that, and now it's the biggest company in the world. Okay? So everyone is trying to look successful now by extracting profits for their lifestyle instead of reinvesting in market share or spending time on their product. All right. And Sam Ovens also did this. He had like a 1% profit margins, but essentially what he did is essentially the exact same thing as Jeff Bezos. And even Sam Ovens on all his videos, he mentioned how he studied Jeff Bezos. I think and Jeff Bezos studied from Sam Waltman. I think it's the founder of Walmart, right? And Jeff Bezos studied him, and essentially Sam Ovens studied Jeff Bezos and Sam Waltman. I know there's the OpenAI CEO founder is Sam Altman, so Sam Waltman. Did exactly the same thing. He spent all that money on ads and essentially got a lot of profit market share. So all of this good word of mouth, and to do that, you need a good product. You need a good product because if you spend money on ads and you're just showing people how shitty your product is, all right? But if you spend all that money on ads and get market share and people love the product and it's good word of mouth, you can then drop the ad spend, increase your profit margins, and now you're growing through word of mouth. Okay? I don't have to look at I buy from Takealot in South Africa, but let's say in the US, like people don't need to see an ad from Amazon to buy from Amazon. That's just the place they buy at. So now it's all profits. Now he's rolling in billions of dollars. That's how it works. So compounding, and the only way I know this is by studying the greatest people. If you don't learn about this, if you don't read books about them, how would you know these things? Okay? Compounding is what you're really after. Wealth, brand, and skills, and this obviously takes time. Okay? If you want a good brand for the long term, you need to play long term as well. Because if you're short term minded, you're gonna cut your reputation, which is not the thing you want in the long term. Like Warren Buffett, for example, can lose all his money. In the next day, he'll get wired $1 billion because of his reputation. Okay? What most people are doing is they are decreasing their reputation to increase their money. Okay? They are essentially short-term cash grabs. That's what people are doing in the marketplace. Obviously, I see this, so I do the complete opposite and focus all my time and effort on my product. Okay? Because that's where the moat lies. In the short term, we're not going to make the most money. In the long term, we definitely are. That's how it works. Okay? Consistency beats intensity every single time. So amateurs only act when they're motivated or inspired. Make use of inspiration, but don't rely on it. I even calculated I am motivated to go to the gym 6% of the time. If I only went to the gym then, I would be out of shape. I would not be in good shape. Okay? But I go every single day because I'm just disciplined. Okay? But make use of that inspiration. When you are inspired, go extra hard, When I even listened to Naval and Chris Williamson talk, and he said that when he's inspired, he acts instantly. When he's inspired, I was very inspired to make these slides, by the way. Like, I spent the entire morning on this. I was very inspired to do that. So I worked the entire time, like 4 hours straight, okay? I was inspired. So when that inspiration strikes, act immediately also. But don't rely on it. Like, I would still make these slides even if I wasn't inspired, okay? ordinary things for extraordinary periods of time. And that's obviously consistency. It beats intensity every single time. So ordinary things, it's pretty, it's boring, it's consistency, it's like you're not always inspired, but for extraordinary periods of time, right? That's where the real magic happens. So Sam Ovens grew consulting.com, his company, over 10 years, working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And some days he didn't work 12 hours, whatever, but successful people don't work hard. They just do something every single day. That's consistency. Writing a page a day isn't much. Let's say an author and you're writing a page a day. That doesn't sound like much. Like that's your entire vocation and you're writing a page a day, but that's a book a year. Over 10 years, you just launched 10 books. That's a lot for an author. Like 10 books. If you write a page a day, like let's say you spend 4 hours just creating like the best page ever. Like just one page of source. Okay. And if you do that every single day, that's a book a year of 360 pages. That's pretty decent. Okay. Discipline allows for consistency. So discipline is really like the foundation of all of these things. Consistency brings compounding, the thing you really want. So everyone really wants compounding. But also when it comes to building an amazing product, even Paul Graham talks about this in his essays, is that you can't necessarily feel and see the compounding take place in the beginning stages. That's why, Alex Emoji also says that winners they just have more ways to measure success. All right. So with our product at the moment, we've got 1,600 members in our product, right? Which is not crazy. Like we obviously have bigger goals, but we're still grateful for everyone in there, right? But we are seeing that we are growing 23% every single month. So 23% a month, that's better than Warren Buffett's returns. Warren Buffett grows by like 23% a year. We do that every single month. Okay. So obviously that's one way we measure success. Okay. So, even though we're not at our goal, we can see how we are progressing towards that. We can't yet see the compounding effect. Like, let's say we are, 10,000 people. 10,000 people in our community, and we're still growing by 20% a month. That is 2,000 members every single month that we are growing. Okay, 2,000 people that we are impacting. All right. So let's say we're 100,000 people. We are growing 20,000 people a month. So it exponentially grows. So winners just have more ways to compare and analyze, essentially, compare success. So number 6 is adapt or die. Now, you probably know what I'm talking about this one. So everyone is looking for something to grasp on. Everyone is like anxious. They're like, oh, I just need something constant that I can hold on. That's why people hold on to their current identity, that they don't want to change. People don't like change in general. Like they want consistency. They want consistency, obviously, but they want something constant to grab on. But that's not how the world works. The only constant is change. Like if you're looking for something to grasp on, it's change and adaptability. That's why adaptability is like the best skill set you can learn. It's like a meta skill set. Netflix, Amazon, and Uber all had to pivot massively to survive. So we are currently pivoting kind of as well, just by rebranding our school community, which is also a strategic move, right? So Netflix had to go from DVD to online streaming. If they didn't do that, they would have died. And there's a lot of companies who died, but you can't remember them. That's terrible. Like, you remember those guys who like did all the lifestyle stuff, and are now successful? No, you don't, because you literally can't remember them. It's crazy. They just die, and no one ever remembers them. All right. So don't let that be you. And the only way to do that is by building an amazing product. It's obviously product and distribution, but people distribute, which is focusing on marketing before they have an amazing product. They're just telling people how shitty the sandwich is. Like, why are you doing that? You're just literally declining. So Amazon as well, they obviously pivoted from books to the everything store. Okay, if they just focused on books, they wouldn't have got so big. They pivoted, they adapted. Very important. And Uber had to go from, what was this? Oh, just, driving cars to also doing Uber Eats. Okay, so they wouldn't have grown as big, and all the other supermarkets would have taken over their market share. But they obviously decided to pivot as well and did Uber Eats before everyone else. So they were kind of trendsetters in a way. You need to kind of spot trends as well. Like I mentioned this in my previous YouTube video. AI now was like the internet and commerce back in 1994. So Jeff Bezos saw the internet growing by 2,300% in 1 year and decided to adapt. He took the risk. So he already had a good job working as like an investment banker or something. like I think he was making like $200,000 a year, which is obviously great. I think the top 1% in America makes $400,000 a year. So if you're making $40,000 a month, you're in the top 1% of the US, in all ages. All right. So, Jeff Bezos obviously saw, if you grow 2,300% in 1 year, you need to look at that. Okay. And AI now is not growing that quickly, actually. So people aren't yet, AI is still very, very early, by the way. Please study AI. Like even Mark Cuban on a interview, he said that, if you are in your 20s, you should spend every waking hour studying AI and just researching that. Like he said, listen to podcasts while you're sleeping. He says it's that important. So we are still extremely early, very early. And AI is probably bigger than the internet. It's 100% going to be bigger than the internet, but now it's growing by like 30% a year, which is still obviously quite a lot. It's more than Warren Buffett's returns, and he's the best investor to live. There's probably other ones better, but like he's the most famous investor, and he obviously did pretty well. And AI is now growing by like 30% a year, and the internet grew by 2,300. So that means we're extremely early, very, very early still. So yeah, and there's no risk by learning AI. Like what can you lose? It's only upside. All right. So listen to podcasts about AI. Just study that. And here's another stat about adaptability. College has declined by 15% over 11 years. So it's basically declining even quicker now. And the creator economy, basically Wi-Fi money, is growing by 15% every single year. So it's still not as much, but the one is declining and the other one is increasing. So you don't want to be in a dying market. Okay. College is becoming increasingly irrelevant. And 100 years ago, 50% of the population were farmers. Now only 2% of the population are farmers. New jobs are emerging like wildfire. So if you were to tell people 100 years ago, like, someone would post YouTube videos and they would make money that way. Okay, first you have to explain to them what is YouTube, and then they're going to be like, how does this work? It works on social media. And then they're like, let's say you're telling this to someone 100 years ago. What is social media? And you're like, oh my goodness. And now you have to tell people, so in 100 years from now, people are going to be social media influencers. They're going to be social media marketers. You're going to have a social media manager. They're going to be like, okay, first off, what is social media? And then you have to be like, okay, so basically, Mark Zuckerberg in his dorm room created this thing called Facebook, where people online, and then they're going to be like, what is Facebook? And what is online? So like, there's so many new jobs that are emerging, you can't even comprehend it yet. Like, if you were to tell people 100 years ago that the jobs we have now, they're going to think we're crazy. So 100 years ago, 50% of the population were farmers. Now only 2% of the population are farmers. And those 48%, like, they just adapted to different markets and got jobs in that. One of these farmers are probably now like a social media manager, right? Like, jobs, it's changing. It's not people are losing jobs. Some are obviously who don't adapt and just stay like, no, I'm gonna stay with this college thing. Like, I'm gonna still do this. Other people are gonna be like, okay, wait. Everyone is doing commerce online. Online is a new thing. The creator economy is growing by 15% every single year, and also, it's currently at 200 billion, and by 2030, in 5 years, it's going to be 800 billion, so growing 4x. So the market size is increasing. Therefore, it means there's no opportunity. More people are going that way. I probably have to do that. And college is declining by a lot, 5%, 10% a year. It's probably more now. All right. So new jobs are emerging, and your business reflects you. This is the last point. You don't have business problems. You have personal problems that reflect in your business. So people are always looking at, I have a client acquisition problem, or, I can't close this sale, whatever. It's like, it's not a sales problem. It's a you problem. So business is just a reflection of you. People say that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. No, that's false. 9 out of 10 people fail. Businesses can't fail. Like, what is a business? It's just an extension of you. You are doing the things. All right. So also you want to kind of detach your ego from it. Like, when the business fails, like, you don't want to feel like a failure. All right. Because also in some sense you do, because you obviously did that, but you want to detach from it, the results and everything like that. So it's again, this fine balance between holding two frames of mind, two contradicting frames of mind in the same time. That's very important. And it's very difficult. People can't do that. Your income will never outgrow your character. Work on your character, the money will follow. also super crucial. You don't achieve goals, you achieve characters. And if you achieve that character, the goal will manifest as a natural byproduct. This makes self-improvement the highest leverage activity. And the highest leverage activity is reading, in my opinion. Because all history's greatest entrepreneurs studied history's greatest entrepreneurs. And the way to do that is to read their biographies. And even Charlie Munger, who's probably the smartest business guy who've ever lived, right? Even Warren Buffett's son, Howard Munger, said that Warren, his dad, is the second smartest person he knows after Charlie Munger. So even his own son said that Charlie Munger is smarter than his dad, which is Warren Buffett, who is still extremely smart. And he said that reading biographies is one of the highest leverage activities you can do. Reading biographies. So it's not me saying this. Like, I'm not smart enough to know these things. I just learn from the smartest people. All right? So when I'm sharing these things, just know that it's obviously from my direct experience also, some of these things. But most of it is just by obsessing and learning from the smartest people in the industry. That's all I'm doing. And just synthesizing this to you so it's comprehensible. And obviously, you can study it as well. And there's a Bible verse that says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little can also be dishonest with much. So essentially, if you can't even be happy, like yesterday in the gym, I picked up like a 2 rand. It's not even a penny. I don't know how much it is. It's like basically nothing. You can't buy anything with it. Maybe like a bubble gum, but like literally nothing. But you have to be grateful for the small things as well. If you are trusted with very little, you can be trusted with much. So if you're making, let's say, $1,000 a month at the moment, or you're making like 10,000 rand, $500 a month, like you need to be grateful and also trust that money as well. Like, write out your budget, invest 10% of that, like do these things with the small money, then you'll be trusted with much. You're not going to make big money if you can't even be trusted with little. Like, you can't even save 10% of the 5,000 rand you make. Like, you spend all of that. Like, how are you going to be trusted with much? Please be reasonable. And so these are the 7 things. Focus. Like, even Warren Buffett and an interviewer asked Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, probably like, 2 smart business guys, whatever. The interviewer asked both of them, what is the one word that accounted for most of your success? And they didn't know, what word, like they did this separately, okay? And both of them wrote down focus. So the one didn't know what they were writing, and both of them wrote down focus. Insane, okay? So, and even now, with all the social media and everything like that, like everyone's brain is scattered. Like they don't know what's going on. Like it's shiny object after shiny object, just like jumping from one thing to another. Social media, it's just like all over the place. Dopamine receptors fried. Focus is like, even Charlie Munger said that, I wasn't necessarily smart. I just had a very long attention span, and that's focus. Okay, value. Putting value first. Money is a result of service. People are asking, how do I make money? That's not what you should be thinking. You should be thinking, how can I solve problems for people and eat their complexity and make their lives easier and alleviate some pain? You will make money that way. Learning, just constantly learning. If you're not reading books, you are actively putting yourself at a disadvantage. Long-term thinking, like that's the biggest moat. Even Charlie Munger said like, he had a long attention span, which obviously equates to long-term thinking as well. All right. Consistency. If you're long-term thinking, or like if you have patience in the short term, you can have patience for the long term as well. Okay, it's like a meta skill. Consistency over intensity, but obviously if you are intense one day and you got some inspiration, act on that, but just stay consistent. And be consistent, you need to be disciplined. Okay? Adaptability, that's like the ultimate meta skill, especially with what's going on in the world right now. Like everything is changing so quickly with AI, you need to adapt. That's like the biggest thing. People don't care. Like I saw this tweet that said, artists should be compensated for their work, but business owners don't care about your 10 years in art. Like they only care about the outcome. And if AI can do that in 30 seconds without waiting for anything, they're gonna choose that for much cheaper. $20 a month, you can get like a thumbnail, for your YouTube. Why am I gonna pay like an artist for that? Okay, if the AI can do it much faster, much better, and you can get exactly what you want. And then self-mastery, your business is just a reflection of you. So, which makes self-improvement the ultimate, highest leverage activity. And self-improvement is very much tied to learning as well, which is books. Okay, so crazy. These 7 truths are simple, but they are everything. Like these are literally everything. Like I obviously spend a lot of time creating these slides, and these are like the top 7, truly. So if you want more access to this or just more in general, more help, we got a 20-hour free. It's literally free. So mini course down below. You can join. So we are, probably the name's probably going to change. That's what I mentioned. We're doing a rebrand. Okay. But just go to school.com/Athens. Like you will see the domain there. So school.com/Athens. We've got 1,600 members at the moment, and we're growing by 20% every single month, all through word of mouth. Like I mentioned right here, we got a 10-hour free wealth course. Bro, I spent 200 hours on this free wealth course. 200. Oh, sorry, 100. Sorry, 200 in total with Quentin as well. So I spent 100 hours on a free 10-hour free wealth course, and most people spend 10 hours on their paid stuff. So I follow these things to the T as well, like service first. Like this is all free, all right? And some people say, "Oh, you're pitching." It's like, fuck you. This is all free. What do you mean? It's just providing value, right? And for 10 hours, you can get like deep. Like I spent so much time on this. It's actually insane. We had a podcast with Jordan Platten, and we told him about our product and all those things. He said we spend way too much time on our free community, on our free products, like our free, whatever you want to call this, right? Like free week 1. We spend way too much time on that. And obviously that's not a good thing, but we kind of overspent. So it's like too much value for free. So if you want to check that out, people love it. Obviously, that's why we're growing by word of mouth. It's product focused. We just focus on the product. And, at the end of the video, if you stayed 42 minutes, you're obviously very interested. So this is obviously free. Just check it out down below. Other than that, I hope you enjoy this one. And then I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.